It's something I learned at Zappos, emotional connection between your customer and what it is that they're buying. Every designer has a full page and it talks about like their history. And when we first launched, we really wanted customers to be able to meet a Ukrainian person.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Jen from Angel for Fashion. Jen, thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company.
Hey, so Carl, thanks for having me. I'm super excited that you reached out to me and I actually responded to the message because, as you know, we all get like so much crazy spam in our inboxes. But for some reason, you did not look like spam to me. So I am excited about that fact. So my name's Jen Sidary, and I launched my website called Angel for Fashion in April of 2022. It's was launched with 30 Ukrainian designers, and we're here to just help them survive the horrific war on their country. I know it sounds, people always ask me, like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I help Ukrainian designers export to foreign markets. And they're like, wow, that's super niche. But yeah,
Indeed.
it's been really a fun, cool project for sure with a humanitarian flair.
Listen, hats off to you for doing so. And we're definitely gonna dive deeper into this. But before that, what did you do before getting involved with Angel for Fashion?
You know, I've always been in fashion. So before this, I was the president of Vivienne Westwood America. I consulted with a lot of different companies. Um, and then before that, I was the head of the luxury website for Zappos.com. So I would say that the website Zappos, and it's kind of crazy ideas to like go big or go home, coupled with, you know, Vivian. If you don't know about Vivienne Westwood, you should Google her. Super serious activist in the world who is sadly no longer with us. But I would say those two things for sure led me to this moment, which is cool.
No, that's awesome. And and thank you for sharing. So that being said, let's jump into some questions here related to your current company. So you launched Angel for Fashion right after the war in Ukraine begun. So what gave you the clarity and urgency to take that step?
It was completely insane. I mean, I mean,
Tell us more.
it's crazy. I was showing six Ukrainian fashion designers at New York Fashion Week with a grant that they had received from USAID. You know, the agency that is sadly no longer really in existence. Um, but anyway, you know, and just to clarify so people understand, the reason USAID gives money to underdeveloped countries like this to help their small and medium-sized businesses is because if you help a country's small and medium-sized businesses grow, then you ultimately have to give them less aid the next year. It's pretty
Makes
basic, but
sense.
even, you know, some congressmen don't seem to understand the importance of this. But we were showing them the week the war broke out. So I ended up having to pack up six collections in like random luggage that I bought and bring it back to my one bedroom apartment in West Hollywood, including a Ukrainian fashion designer who was in New York at the time as well. And I got a call from one of my designers asking me how she was going to continue her business during the war. She was in a bomb shelter with her family. And I woke up the next day and thought I should launch a multi-brand Ukrainian website to help them survive the war on their country. And in 30 days, I did just that, which is wild.
No, that's awesome. So many questions here for you. So let's try to break it down for our listeners. So first of all, how did you even end up in Ukraine? Did you just, have you been based in New York and just working with them through like a connection, or how did that start?
So during COVID, I was working for a company that I was not loving my job. So thankfully, I did get laid off, which is great. I had some friends that were living and working in Kiev, and they said, "Oh my God, like everything is open here, bars and restaurants. You should come." So I literally bought a one-way ticket to Ukraine in the middle of a pandemic. And when I landed in Kiev, that's when I started to realize that they had all these talented Ukrainian fashion brands that I had no idea existed, even though I had been traveling abroad my entire career. And so I started consulting with them. And then in 2021, so all of this before the war, um, I met up with the head of USAID and asked him to give us a grant to take the brands to New York Fashion Week. So in September 2021, we did just that.
Awesome.
And then there was the second grant during the war. So
I
yeah.
mean, listen, that's amazing. COVID happened, and that just created that opportunity for you. That's awesome. And is it what you're wearing right now? Is it from one of your Ukrainian
It is
designers?
not, no, I wish. Yeah, I should be wearing my designers. But today it's like
No,
super, I think it's like 40 degrees here in Spain. So
gotcha.
super
Okay.
hot. Yeah.
So, listen, next question here. So you build this platform obviously to support these Ukrainian designers. So how do you find them, and how does the business model work for them day to day?
So, I mean, most of them I met when I was in Ukraine. So, almost all the designers on the platform I have met. I think there's only one that lives in Kharkiv that I have yet to meet because Kharkiv is so close to the front line. Um, but it really is this kind of curated selection of more like designer luxury brands
Mhm.
with a little bit of contemporary price points in there. Um, but I mean, for me, it's all about like quality and price. So I want to make sure that customers get like something exciting and new that they're not seeing anywhere else.
That's awesome. I mean, listen, clearly it's important for the customers to feel like they're buying from people, not just a store, especially based on the condition of Ukraine right now. So how do you help them tell their stories?
So yeah, so for me it was super important to like bring the designers' stories to the forefront. I mean, it's something I learned at Zappos was to kind of drive this personal emotional connection between your customer and what it is that they're buying. So we do on the website even talk about the designers. Every designer has a full page, and it talks about like their history. And when we first launched, we really wanted customers to be able to like even meet a Ukrainian person. So we would even have them in the beginning hook up and chat about the delivery, so that you could really like have this kind of emotional connection to helping an actual Ukrainian person on the ground there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, listen, I feel like this is all about the brand identity, right? So really focusing on that. And do you see, have you been able to see direct results from it? So, for example, you mentioned you'd have the customers hook up with the designers. Would that typically always end up in a sale, for lack of a better term, or tell me more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say people are excited to know where their money is going, right?
Hmm.
So when you go to help out someone in a war, it's so tricky, right? Because you don't always want to like just give your money. Like, where is it going to go? So this is like giving people an opportunity to help, and then they get this incredible creation at their doorstep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, because especially, I think when you and I spoke previously, you mentioned to me how, the women are the ones kind of like in the workforce right now because most men are on the front line fighting, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, fashion is predominantly a women's run industry, obviously. And so we're trying to keep these women employed so they can, provide for their families. Well, of course, the men are predominantly fighting on the front line. And of course, winning the war on the economy side is just as important as winning the war on the front line.
No, totally understand. I mean, speaking of that conflict, I'm wondering how that's impact shipping, because I do know that you've shipped to 44 countries and you've been featured in Forbes, Elle, and Extra TV. So, what surprised you the most about how people have responded?
It's exciting. I mean, I would say part of it is helping the country, but part of it is just that people love this Ukrainian fashion. I mean, I'm sure you've never been to Ukraine yet, but if you ever go, you will see they're super creative people. So they are making designs and things that you really don't find anywhere else, which is exciting.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, to your point, I've never been. Definitely,
You
will
gotta go.
probably.
You gotta come with me sometime, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm definitely not opposed to it. I love traveling, and yes, I think once things come down a little bit, I would be more than happy to visit.
Come check it out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
maybe the war will end this year, we hope.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, you mentioned a few things already in our conversation. You you've been you were in the fashion. You're in fashion for a long time. Got to Ukraine, started working with these people um, to help them promote their products. So, like, how do you balance being a curator, a tech founder, and really a social mission leader all in one?
I mean, wow, what a question. um, I mean, you just have to wake up every day and know that you're going to be wearing a ton of different hats, right? I mean, I think we're all kind of doing that these days, right? Like, you aren't just doing one thing, you're doing a bit of everything, right? So
I mean, listen,
that's,
speaking of wearing multiple hats, so to just get a deeper understanding of what it is that you do. So you work with like, multiple designers, now obviously remotely, and you had mentioned, taking their brands to New York Fashion Week. I have very little knowledge about fashion, and I'm sure many of our listeners will as well. So tell us, what does that entail, taking brands to New York Fashion Week? Is it a place where
it
they
is
just get
not
exposed?
glamorous, people. It is not. It is not. I mean, we make it look glamorous, but it isn't that glamorous. I mean, you've got to think. So we have to sit and decide all the things that we're going to bring, and what might sell, and make line sheets and prices. And then we bring everything to. Normally, we show in a showroom setting. So I have to rent all the racks and hangers and everything to showcase. It's a lot of unpacking and hanging and steaming and organizing to make it look great, including making sure that we get all the right buyers in from all the best stores to actually make this worth our time, which is super tricky. And then you have appointments every single day, and you try and get stores excited to come in and buy our apparel or shoes or whatever it is that we're selling. And there's so much competition out there. So it is quite a lot of work. And then you've got to collect the orders, put everything into production, and then, of course, collect the money and pick, pack, and ship and sell to the retailers, and then make sure that it actually does sell when it gets to the store. So
Wow. You,
when
you,
what you're seeing curated into your favorite store, it took a lot to get to that moment, right?
yeah, yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a couple follow-up questions here. So you mentioned that what you have to make sure that also it sells at the store. I was under the assumption that once the product leaves your hands pretty much and you sell it to a store, then it doesn't matter what happens to it because they already bought it from you. No?
Well, I mean, you can have that. You can have that mindset if you want, but you're probably not going to be in that store very long.
Uh,
So if you don't, if you sell a store, I mean, for me, I always think of a very long term vision with a company instead of a short term vision. So a lot of people love to just sell a ton of stuff to a store and just hope that it sells. Um, but if you want to be in the store for a long time, if there's some styles that don't sell, you either need to like help them out, take it back, give them some markdown money. Maybe you give them a discount on a future order because obviously you want to continue to do business with them, right?
gotcha.
So
No, makes
it,
sense.
you can think of it as a very short term vision, but you won't probably be in that store very long.
I see. No, makes total sense. And so is New York Fashion Week a yearly thing?
Well, we're not really doing New York Fashion Week anymore.
Okay.
I mean, it happens a couple times a year, normally in February and September. We're currently showing pre-collection market now, which is in January and June in Paris. Um, and then there's main market as well that happens in like March and October. So it is twice a year for sure, spring and fall. But then there's obviously a bunch of different markets in between.
Understood.
So
Okay.
you can spend a lot of money showcasing your product for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just learned so much about the fashion world here. So, are these things typically worth all that work that you mentioned? So normally, do you meet a lot of people? Do you get like buyers?
I mean, because obviously, I mean, people got a little bit better during COVID to where, people will buy some things online, but I would say most buyers want to touch and feel the product and then develop a relationship with you to make sure that they feel comfortable buying from you, that you're going to actually produce the product and ship it to them. Um, so even though people will make virtual appointments and you can show some things online, it's not you're not going to really do any business unless you show in person.
Understood.
You
Okay, so
know,
pretty
it's
much,
it's total. I mean, I still believe that in-person relationships are more important, obviously, right?
they're
Than
they're
you know, you
stronger. That's for sure. Yes, 100%. They're stronger. I think that's in most industries. But okay. So I mean, listen. What obviously there's a lot of work that has to be done to make all this happen. Have you, I mean, listen, this might be completely new for the fashion world, but have you explored using AI for anything in your world, like personalizing the shopping experience, maybe automating product tags, like any of that? How are you utilizing AI?
So I don't think we're probably utilizing it enough, I would say. Um, I mean, definitely we're using it for. I know some of my girls have been using it for product descriptions and things on the
Hmm.
website. I mean, I feel like I still could probably use it to help me find more connections, maybe. But we haven't yet really been using it for that. Um, but I mean, and for me, I also now use it to polish, even just an email. I've become like super lazy, right? Whenever I want to write, whenever I want to write anything and during the day, I pick up my OpenAI and I'm like, hey, can you write me this email? Right? I mean,
Yep,
you're
yep.
doing this too, yes?
Of course, of course. I think
You probably
it,
do it way more than me.
I do love AI. AI is it's a big part of my world now. And I mean, listen, I think it has its place in every industry. And I was curious to hear how it works in fashion, but I heard it. So, for example, you mentioned that your designers use it for excuse me, for product description. So that being said, do you, this is something that for me in fashion, I feel like probably these product descriptions can make or break a deal, right? Because if designers see something that they like, and then it will push them to click. Is that correct? Is that why the product description is important?
Just to explain how great it is for us. I mean, when we launched the website, we hardly had any product descriptions. I mean, mainly because most Ukrainians at the time didn't speak English. So they didn't even have English product descriptions to put on the site. So what's been
Gotcha.
really great for us is just to be able to even write a basic description.
Hmm.
And as you know, with SEO and getting your product in front of customers, descriptions are super important, right?
100%.
So that in and of itself has been amazing for us.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think you guys are just scratching the surface here of the potential of AI, and I'm sure with time it will just get better and better. And maybe in the future you won't just be asking AI to write you an email, but you ask it for much more. I think, the concern that some people may have is that AI will come and take people's job. But to be honest with you, in fashion, I don't know. I don't see it happening. But then again, you're the expert. What are your thoughts?
Well, I watched. Okay, so I'm psycho like news buff, which you would not probably think. But I was watching just recently an interview on Fareed Zakaria, and he was talking to that guy whose business like just hit $4 trillion. Um, he supplies like the microchips and everything for OpenAI and all the different
Hmm.
platforms. And what he was trying to say is, to me, it's not really going to take your job. It should actually give you the opportunity to have time to be doing other things, right? So, just as basic as writing an email for me, sometimes, I would sit there for 20 minutes to make an email sound
Of
not
course.
bitchy or something, right?
Hmm.
And now this saves me time to do it in a really short period of time. So it should free us up with more time to create new things. I'm not as afraid that it's gonna like take over our lives. Do you think that's gonna happen?
No, we share the
I'm
same
not
views
that
here.
afraid of it, right?
No, I mean, listen, I think you were spot on. It's more of a companion to help us with these with operations of our businesses. That's how I see it. And to your point, it can increase productivity significantly, especially if it allows us, to do tasks that much faster. So no, we're on the same page there.
And just nicely, because sometimes you can't figure out the way to express what you want to say in a nice and loving way,
Spot on, spot on.
So
So I
I
mean,
think it's
listen,
really nice. I mean, it's been great for us, and I mean, I have a podcast. I even use it on my podcast as my guest, even.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'll have to hear more about that.
you should try having AI as your next podcast guest, maybe.
That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. I will be looking into that. Um, I mean, listen, Jen, just to wrap things up, all right. I would like to know, what's next for Angel for Fashion? More brands, new features, or any new partnerships in the horizon. Again, hats off to you for what you've done so far. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about this.
So we are a couple of things. We're of course finally looking for an investor to kind of take the company to the next level. So that's one. And then I think that we're talking about launching brands from other Eastern European countries with like freedom aligned values as Ukraine. So in 2026, I think for sure you'll be seeing brands on our website that are from other countries, which is going to be, I think,
Nice.
super exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing this. And again, hats off to you. This is amazing what you're doing for the Ukrainian fashion workers, being able to showcase their product internationally, and really just to your point earlier, not just like, help people understand that they're giving their money for a good cause. So that's awesome.
Well, and I just think, everybody would like to begin to start supporting independent companies, right? Like, I mean, we all could make Jeff Bezos richer, if we want to continue down that path. But I do believe that people would like to support more independent brands and companies, right, going forward. I mean, we're all, of course, going to still buy from Amazon. It's super convenient, but we also don't want those giant companies to control our lives, do we?
Very valid point. Could not agree more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, because then they control everything.
Of course, of course. It becomes a monopoly, which is what we would prefer to avoid. So yes,
Well, we
I'm sure that
used
many of
to, I know. We used to avoid this, and I think what they went after Ticketmaster, I think, was one of the last ones they did, right? And Apple, I think. But it'll be interesting to see if this administration goes after any type of like monopoly companies.
yeah, I mean, listen, it seems like this is what their business model will look like. It's acquiring other companies and having multiple, players in different spaces. So TBD. But I do agree with your point of trying to avoid the best we can to have these monopolies control our lives. But listen, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think you're onto something with Ukraine, and also now I can't wait for you to hear about your expansion. And again, hats off to you for doing this.
I love it. Well, I'm super excited we met. And once the war ends, if you want to go to Kiev, which I do believe will be like the next Berlin, watch for
Oh,
it.
look at that.
It's gonna be well, because when you think about it, people are gonna want to go and see the country and see what it is that they spent their tax dollars on. And I will tell you, everything just tastes better in Ukraine. So you need to let me know, and I will tell you exactly where to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jen. Pleasure talking to you. And again, thank you for joining us.
Okay, thanks.